Hello and welcome. I'm Thorsten Beck. I'm the director of the Florence School of Banking and Finance, and I will give a very short introduction into a series of 3 videos that will address different tools and forms of cross-border supervisory cooperation, both in the more general context, but also more specifically in the European context. You've heard in the previous video from my colleague Mariana Barata about the legal foundations and the different forms that cross-border supervisory cooperation can take. Now, in this segment, in these 3 videos, we're going to talk about the very specific forms and manners that supervisors across borders can cooperate with each other. So, and very specifically, 3 tools, 3 mechanisms. First, consolidated supervision. Which basically is a group-wide approach to supervisions with insights into the totality of a banking group's activity, no matter where. In Europe, we have lots of cross-border banking. There are also, of course, global banks beyond Europe. And in order for supervisors to get a clear picture of what is going on, no matter where in the world a bank undertakes transactions, undertakes business, be it directly, be it in the form of a branch, be it in the form of subsidiary, consolidated supervision is a critical tool to really assess the state of the health of the overall banking group. Now, a specific form of or a tool instrument for cross-border supervisory cooperation is a so-called memorandum of understanding, which is a document signed by 2 supervisory authorities that commits them to undertake certain actions, such as exchanging information. Now, it is important to understand that these memorandum of understanding are not legally binding. So they are kind of declarations of intent. Now, one step further than an MOU would be a college of supervisors, which is typically called by the home or the parent bank supervisor, and are permanent, at the same time, flexible structures for collaboration, coordination, and information sharing across different supervisors that deal with banking groups across different authority, across different jurisdictions. They might meet once a year, twice a year. And again, they go a step further than an MOU because they really allow direct interactions between supervisors. Now, these kind of forms, these kind of tools exist across the globe. But how does it actually look in the European context? In the European context, one can see the single supervisory mechanism as kind of the most extreme form, if you want to say so, of cross-border supervisory cooperation, because the home and host are kind of in the same institution, in the single supervisory mechanism, in the form of joint supervisory teams that are between Frankfurt and, of course, the different authorities that supervise a specific banking group, different subsidiaries and branches. Now, the SSM, as you know, of course, is comprised of the different the 20 euro area countries. There's one additional country currently in close cooperation, Bulgaria, which also aims to join the euro in the next few years. Now, beyond this kind of core of the single supervisory mechanisms are other EU member states, non-euro EU countries, that form also part, that have their own supervisory authorities that are standalone, that are not part of the SSM. But they are involved in the so-called European colleges, meaning they cooperate, where needed, closely with the SSM. Now, beyond the EU, there is then another, of course, there's a wide world out there, as we know, of third countries that are not part of the EU, that are also not part, by the way, of the EBA single rule book of the different compliance and other commitments that EU member states have to make. And these third countries, of course, also cooperate with the SSM or with specific supervisory authority within Europe. And now we'd like to distinguish between 2 different groups here. One is that where the EBA, the European Banking Authority, has established a confidentiality equivalence, so which means that eases the exchange of information between the SSM or individual supervisory authority and supervisory authorities in this third country and countries where such a equivalence has not been established yet. Now, again, this cooperation between a supervisory authority within Europe and outside Europe takes place again, as mentioned before, in the form of MOUs and colleges. So this is again the general setup. And in the remaining 3 videos of this series, we're going to talk about more specifically how this works generally and in the European context. Specifically, we will have 3 contributions. One is on the supervisory equivalence and memorandum of understanding. Second is consolidated supervision. And the third is about College of Supervisors. Now, there is also, of course, much more information available on the ECB website, actually the public website, including on the different supervisory MOUs that the SSM has signed with authority outside, within the EU, but also outside the EU. Thank you very much and good learning.